So, hello everyone, and today I'm very excited to be with Dr. Prateek, who has secured an amazing rank of 130 in the recent INICET examination. Heartiest congratulations, Prateek.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. It's because of all of your efforts combined with mine, and obviously a lot of gratitude to my family as well.
Yeah, family comes first, Prateek, rightly said.
Yeah,
So,
because
what was
you
your
can know.
first, what was your first feeling when you saw your result? Was it expected?
Yeah, ma'am, when I had given the exam, I was like, "Ki, this should be around less than 150." I was like, "Ki, on the upside, it may go under 100, but on the downside, it should be something under 150." So
So you are
I was
very
feeling nice.
close, under 150.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I thought
all
that
right.
it would be probably somewhere around that, but it was pretty nice.
Yeah. So Prateek was in our TND batch, Delhi Center. And Prateek, tell me, how did you started your journey with us and how you used to give the test?
Actually, I started like I did not prepare for my NEET. That was after the internship. When I gave my NEET, I had like I think 25,000 rank. Then I was like, I had not studied in internship. I decided that I'd have fun, so I had fun all through the internship. I did not study much. After that, we had like INICET the May INICET after a month. So I was like, okay, I'll start studying now. So for a month, I started studying on my own. I studied and I think I gave INICET. After a week when we got result, I had like 4,400 was my rank in the May INICET. So I was like, I am improving, but if I have to reach a higher, then I would need some help from some institution definitely. I think after that I enrolled in the Bhatia. We were told that Bhatia is having this great scheme, and if you have like a lot of people from my college were also joining, so I was like, this would be a good competition also because a lot of people from my college were also joining. So even the test series or whatever ranks you would get, you it would reflect on how your final performance was going to be because I knew all these good people were also joining in. So I joined, I think by May, if not in May, then I think by June I had joined and I was regularly coming to the test and discussions.
All right. So were you consistent in giving the test? You were giving the test along with the schedule?
Yes, ma'am. For the most part, I was pretty consistent with the test that we had. I think at least 3.5 of 4 months till my first revision was not complete. After that, I had gone like I had my own schedule going on, which were the subjects I was revising at the time. But I don't think I have missed the test, or if I had missed the test, it was because I was not well or I had seen the online version of the test. Other than that, I don't think I have missed the test.
So, as Pratik, it's quite evident that you have jumped from 25,000 to 4,400 and now to a three-digit rank. So, that clearly reflects that there is a lot of improvement. So, how much will you attribute to this test and discussion, and you followed it religiously, that your rank improved?
Now, I think it is indispensable to the growth that I have because one thing that a schedule gives you is consistency. Because I think most of these exams are more about consistency and discipline rather than how much you know or how much you can, because how much you can retain depends on the number of hours you give in and how consistent you are with giving those hours. As long as you have a schedule, you have something to look up to, and that helps you really go for the preparation. I think that's what kept me going because I knew at the end of every week there is an exam coming up. You have to show up for the exam. You have to learn the topics, and it's also it's a real time review of the revision you are having or the effort you're putting in. So you'd get a good feedback of how good or how bad it was. Some it may not be linear, matlab, the amount of hours you put in and the result that you get in the test that you gave, but you get to know what are your flaws in the preparation. Were, was your grasp on the concept wrong? Are you getting recall errors? Things like that, or is it just new information? So I think it also helps you get along. And I think the schedule and the consistency is the most important part that is to the preparation.
Right. So, Pratik, how was the questions like? Were they simulating your real exam, and how did you gain how much from your discussion part?
I think I especially like the offline T&Ds because one thing is I think the offline there is more interaction that you can have with the teacher. Also,
Mm-hmm.
there's like real-time doubt solving that you have when you have an offline T&D, which I
Mm-hmm.
think is very helpful. Also, sometimes when you ask a doubt, you get a better grasp of a concept, but sometimes you might have new doubts about that,
Yeah.
especially even while someone is explaining it to you, because you might think of one or two new things. The problem I think with online is sometimes your questions might get lost because there are a lot of questions online and there's like a time constraint. But when it's an offline discussion, all those queries get addressed in real time. So that is why I like the offline test and discussion more. Also, I think I like the interactions with teacher a little more because I don't know, it just I think it helps me understand it better or something like that. And I think most of the test and discussions were pretty concise to the point, and they were time saving, if I could say it like that. So I pretty enjoyed the offline experience I had in the test and discussions, and most of the teachers I think are with the DBMCI are very good. I especially like the microbiology teacher because his notes are pretty nice. I think 40 or 50 pages, and all of the microbiology is covered in that, and pathology also. Pathology props up for the hematology part, especially because that is especially difficult. It is difficult to grasp and difficult to retain, but sir made us tables and things like that, and it was pretty nice, I think, neatly wrapped up.
All right. So you think that if one is attending the TNDs consistently, following the schedule, so we can have a crisp and concise revision of whole of the subject?
Of course, because at the end of the day, however much you prepare, the most important part would be the last revision that you have before giving the exam, like 10 to 15 days prior. And if you can revise everything in that time, it helps you a lot because you also have confidence going in that I've read everything and I've also revised it before going in. So I think it helps you get relaxed and it also gives you the confidence before going in. So I think that goes a long way. And uh, if nothing else, then it's also there are very crisp notes that are like last minute revision, and I think that was very helpful for all the T&Ds.
All right. So you did mention that in the last we have to revise. So how many times did you revised before the exam?
No, I think my first read was in 3 months. Then I took 1.5 months for another revision, and I had I had one reads and two revisions. And then last one was the last minute revision before the. So I think I had revised it around 3 times. But the last one is pretty quick when you have to go through every the 19 subjects in 10 to 15 days. But other than that, I think two revisions that were pretty thorough. And the last one was like last minute reads or things that you might miss, things like that.
So how did you plan that what all you will be revising in your last revision that you said will be pretty quick?
Actually, I did not plan very well. I actually had a similar discussion with my college mates who all have gotten better ranks than me, and I got to know a lot of things, and they were like, "We had prepared like this. This was our consistency of giving this." I was like, "I did not do that." I think probably that is why I am still in the 130s and they're where they are. But I think planning is really important, and that really opened up my mind. But what I had planned was basically I had highlighted the notes or doubly highlighted them to especially revise the parts that I would like to do in the end. Or I had taken up notes that were like last minute revision from whatever sources you might want to take. But the I think the only important thing is you must be familiar with the notes that you are going to revise in the end. If you start to pick up something like just the last minute topics from a platform or something like that, you're not familiar with it, and so it takes more time. It's better to have your own notes, and I think yeah, mostly it was the portions I had highlighted, and I just when I revise, I think of it as the concept I had read. If I remember how it went, I was like, yeah, all right, we can go to the next part. And the things that I just had to remember, I was like, okay, just quickly read them through.
All right. So Prateek, were you giving the grand tests also?
Yes, ma'am, I was pretty consistent with my grand test. And I think after giving the grand test, the results and the evaluation of grand test is the most important part about the grand test because you get to know the problems you have with your revisions. Is it conceptual? Is it a recall error, or is what was the information itself lacking in your notes? that helps go along with, because if it was some conceptual error, you clearly need to go back and read that topic. But if it was a recall error, or if it was new information, then I did not sweat it much. I was like, okay, this I can add and I can get on with it. But if it's conceptually wrong, then I would go back and read the topic.
All right. So how many GTs do you think are good enough to give in a month?
I gave one GT a month, which was the frequency with which they were given here. But a lot of my friends told me that you have to give a GT a month for the first 3 months, then you have to give two GTs in a month, and then they were like, in the last month you have to give a GT every week. I was like, sorry, bro. But I think maybe that is why. But I
That
think,
is the thing that we keep on, putting in the mindset, please give these many GTs.
yeah, I felt it after doing all of this. So I was like, okay, maybe. So I think planning is definitely important, because I did not put that much mind into planning. I was pretty straightforward into, like, I'll do these many revisions, I'll do it like this. But I think, yeah, this is something people can learn, that if you give GTs with that consistency also, it clearly improves the results, so it works.
Right. So sometimes you learn from the complications also, Prateek. That is
Yeah,
the beauty of that. Okay, Prateek. So you actually followed the TND, and you said that the notes were concise, you were able to revise it, you were giving the test. How did you find the quality of the questions in the test as well as the grand test?
I think the GTs were pretty close to what you'd get in NEET. And in the INICET also, there were two offline tests that were conducted in Delhi. I think they were pretty to the point. The first one lagged assertion, reason, and asked the following questions, type of questions. So I had like given a feedback if they could please include it in the next section. And in the next test, they had all kind of questions, and I had no problems with it. It was pretty to the point, and I think it also matched the difficulty level that you expect in the INICET. Although this time I think it was not the
But this
difficulty level
time,
that you usually expect.
I don't think that there were much assertion and reason wale questions in
Assertion,
the.
reason, I think they have just, it is now a thing of past, because they don't ask it much. But I was expecting it, but the
Uh-huh.
match the
That
following
is
type
like, I
questions
actually
were there.
saw that also, that some of the students are asking for the assertion reason. And then I had said that, okay, we can add these questions, but actually looking at the pattern in the last 10 years, because
Hmm.
these questions were not there, that's why we had planned it in such a way that there were not much assertion and reason type of questions in the grand test. So were you getting the similar ranks in your GTs and mocks, Prateek?
I think the best I performed in the GTs was in the last GT, where my rank was around 200 or something. So I was like, okay. And I think this was the September or October GT. So I was like, if from here the INICET is in like November, so if I can get like an improvement of even 50 ranks, I think I would be pretty fine. So I was like, yeah, I think this is going well, because I had consistently improving results, so I was okay with how I was performing, and I think it was pretty close to how it turned out in the end.
And otherwise, too, we always say that whatever rank you get in grand test, you can expect a better than this in the final
Hmm.
examination, because we are keeping the level little higher than
That
the
is
actual
true.
test.
That
So
is
that,
absolutely true.
so that we are prepared for a level higher also if you get a difficult paper in that matter.
Yes.
All right. So, Prateek, we always learn from every success story, whether it's a do or it's a don't. So, what do you have to say for your colleagues and the future aspirants? What you have learned from your success story?
Ma'am, I think first would be that consistency is the key in such exams. If you are not consistent, consistency and discipline, I think, are the most important aspects here. If you're not consistently putting in your effort and not consistently going on with your timetable or the schedules you make, because you have to make schedules and keep it. That
Mm-hmm.
it is the important part, because you set a timeline for yourself. You may give yourself some rest days, including all those, because you have to know when you will get your revisions complete, when you're going to give your grand test, how are you going to review it. If you cannot manage time well, then these exams would prove to be a little more tricky for you, because then you would not know where your time would go. So I think consistency and discipline are the most important aspects here. Second, I think would also be keeping care of your mental health, because if you
Hmm.
if you a lot of people have like a crash and burn, like they're consistently putting in the hours, but they're not relaxing in between, or they're not refreshed. Because if you're putting in like 10 hours and 11 hours a day, you can do it only for so many
Hmm.
days. You have to keep your mental health in check. If you don't, then you might just crumble along the way, and that is not going
Hmm.
to help anyone. So I think familial support or social support, whatever your friends or peer group, whatever it is, it also becomes very important. And I was lucky enough, I was preparing at home and I have the luxury. I can study as much as I want, and my parents make sure that I don't have a trouble with that at all. And so I think I'm very grateful for a very supporting family. And other than that, I think you also need to review the mistakes that you're making, whether it is in the subject test or in the grant tests, so that you know what are the mistakes and how you can correct it. Because it's not about not making mistakes, but making them and correcting them as much as you can. Because no preparation is perfect, but you want to go a long way of the best attempt that you can give here. Don'ts, I would be like, don't don't do it like me, which was not planned in a proper manner. I mean, not as planned as the other people were, because I think that really shows that it's about what you know and what you do, but it's also about how you plan this stuff. If you plan it better, then you're obviously going to perform better than a lot of your peers. So you have to plan it well. That was something I did not do. And other than that, I also had like in the last month, I had like 4 or 5 days, which I did not study as well as I would have liked. And I think everyone might have those days. But for that, you have to be prepared to do something or the other. Like what I like to do was, if I was not studying, so I had like podcasts on Spotify, which were like something like pharma. There's some guy who's giving pharma notes. He's telling you 5 drugs a day or something like. You have to keep yourself engaged and you have to just get on with it. So if you're not studying, if you're not doing notes, watch videos. If you're not watching videos, do something else. And if you're too fed up with it, just relax. I think that would be important. I think that is what I would have to say. Also, you have to back yourself. That is the most important thing. Because I think a lot of people might not have the support as I have, but you have to keep backing yourself. If you're not backing yourself, then no one else would back you. And also, this is not something, I'm not a topper. I never topped my class, I never topped my school, I never topped in college. I have no distinctions after first year. So I would like to tell everyone that if I can do it, you can do it. It's not some undoable job. If you are in a, especially like I have people in my college or my juniors or people in Delhi colleges, I can tell you, if you are in a college in Delhi, you can crack it. It's not something that people with very high intellects do. I'm pretty average on the intellect. So you can do it. You just have to back yourself and you have to put in the efforts. And that is what I think a lot of people do. We tend to let go of responsibility. Like I remember when the NEET results came, a lot of the classmates, they had performed really well. But I just told myself that, oh no, these people are toppers. They have just studied from first year. They know this stuff. And but as you go on with your preparation, as you're consistently putting in the hours, it just shows that they were putting in the time, and that is why they get the results. And it's also comforting, because if you put in the time, you will also get the results. I think that is something.
So that's very modest of Prateek, but I think on the other hand, he is having a very, very clear mindset, and you actually win from here. So that's a very, very important thing that he pointed out. Your mental health is definitely very, very important, especially when you are going through this stressful period. Any entrance examination is definitely a struggle period, a very stressful period. So you have been very lucky to have a supportive family, but everybody will have someone who can take care of your mental health. So that I would definitely emphasize upon that whoever is preparing for entrance examination, don't consider yourself alone. So there will be someone around. You will have to just give us a message. We are just a message or a call away, and everybody is going to support you in this period, right? So I think Prateek has given a very important message. We keep on focusing on the ranks, on 20th notebook, on the number of revisions, everything. But I think this is also as important as everything, your mental health. A very important and thoughtful message, Prateek. and a very, very important journey. I think you have performed awesomely well, a very marvelous jump from 25,000 to 4,400 and to this 130 rank. And we have been very proud of your journey. You may have made us very proud. And definitely, thank you for being such a grateful student. And all those students who have not prepared well during their UG, I think you can take a message from Prateek. He was comforting himself that when I will start studying, then I will also get good rank. And see, he followed the TNT schedule and he was able to do, and he performed so well. So heartiest congratulations once again
Thank you,
from
ma'am.
all of the team DBMCI, and we wish you all the very best for your future endeavors also.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you. God bless you.